Hello everyone, my name is Taylor Rosenbaum. I am the owner, the creator, the artist, the designer, the hands behind Sew On Stitches, which is a handmade wearable crochet business. And today I'm going to teach you the very basics of crochet. Now when you think crochet, what do you think of? Oh yeah, that's right, yarn, and you probably think of a hook. So I only have one example of yarn in front of me today, but yarn is obviously going to be your biggest tool, and yarn comes in different weights. A weight of yarn depends on how many individual strands make up the yarn itself. So I have a 4-ply yarn, meaning there are 4 smaller strands that make up this one longer strand of yarn. And then the hook size determines how big you want your stitches. So I have a 5mm hook, which is like the universal USA standard size hook that most people go with. This determines how big you want your stitches. So if you want smaller, tighter stitches, you go with a smaller diameter hook, which would be like a 1mm, 2mm, 3mm. And if you want larger, airier stitches, you go up in size. So the bigger the stitch, the bigger the hook, the bigger the stitch. So today, I'm going to teach you how to make a chain of yarn, how to turn that chain, work the other direction, and build up so that you're basically making a rectangle. And the first thing you need to know how to make is a slip knot. Now, if my version of a slip knot is confusing to you, please don't be afraid to go to someone else's YouTube video after watching mine, of course, to learn how to make a slip knot. But this is how I was taught. So I am right-handed. So the working part of the yarn meaning the yarn that is like the closest to the skein, and by skein I of course mean ball of yarn. And I'm actually using Yarnspiration's Red Heart Super Saver yarn in the shade Blue Wave. So if you want to go to Walmart, which is where I found mine, and get you some, go get you some. So I have the yarn in my dominant hand, the working side of the yarn, and then I have the tail. So the tail is the part of the yarn that is the end of the tail. My left hand, which is my non-dominant hand. So I'm gonna make some pinchers, my middle and my thumb. I'm gonna rotate my wrist, grab onto this yarn, twist it. And when I twist it, I'm gonna like hold it, which makes like a little X right there. And with the X, I'm gonna hold it with my dominant hand, bring back my pinchers, slide my pinchers through the hole. I'm gonna bring the working strand through the middle, holding on to that tail. And I'm gonna pull that tail to where it makes a loop. Ta-da, slip knot. And then to shorten the loop, you just pull on the string or the yarn in the opposite direction. You grab your hook, you slide it in, and to tighten, you pull the yarn in the opposite direction. You don't want the yarn too tight on your hook. You want to be able to have that give, that sliding motion. The tail is now being held in my right hand, and now I'm going to teach you how to wrap it around your arm or your hand for some tension. So I like to wrap around my pinky, ring, and middle finger, making sure the yarn is in between my middle finger and my pointer finger. I make a full loop, so a full loop around. Then I make like half a loop, and I stop where my index finger is. I go now under my index finger, and I do this. And I also hold the yarn with my pinky, ring, and middle finger, and I make like this little pew pew motion. Tail, again, is in my right hand, but now it's gonna go to my left hand. My right thumb sits on this little groove on the hook. I like using aluminum hooks, but hooks come in wood, plastic, bamboo, but I like aluminum. It has that nice little slide and glide. I'm gonna hold the knot, the slip knot that I created. And now, here comes the fun part. We are gonna do our first motion, which is called yarn over. You are making an under motion, but the reason it's called yarn over is because now the yarn is over your hook. So I yarned over, and if I were to yarn over and pull through, and that's literally what that term is called, pull through, that is how you make a chain. So yarning over, pulling through makes a chain. So I have now 2 chains on my hook. I'm gonna readjust my grip, and now I'm gonna grab those 2 chains, and let's say we're gonna go 8 more times. So if that was 2, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 4, yarn over, pull through 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Boom. Okay, we are going to create a single crochet. Most people are going to tell you to go through that top part of that V to start your new work, but I don't like doing that. I like to turn my chain around to expose the back bumps, because working in the back bumps is going to give you a cleaner finish on your project. And those back bumps, you should have 10 of them because we had 10 chains before we turned our work. And so you're going to insert your hook into that back bump. Now you should have 2 loops, yarn over, pull through that first loop, and you still technically have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again, and pull through both loops. So when you pull through both loops, that creates that single crochet, single stitch. We're gonna do it again. Insert into the back, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. Okay, the single crochet. The single crochet is the sturdiest of the stitches. If you're making something like a top that you don't want to be revealing, or a bag that you don't want to stretch out over time, you are working with the single crochet. One more time. Insert into the back, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. So now I have 3 single crochets. Now I'm gonna do my favorite stitch, which is the half double. The half double is slightly taller than the single crochet, so it's gonna work up. When I say work up, I mean create your project. So it's gonna work up your project quicker. It's sturdy, it's not too see-through, and it's a very quick stitch. So you yarn over. Now you go into the back, loop, yarn over again, pull up. You now have 3 loops on your hook, 3. You're gonna yarn over and pull through all 3. So that is a half double. It's slightly bigger than the singles, the 3 singles that we made. Not too much though, not too much. We're gonna do it again. Yarn over, 2 loops, insert into back loop, yarn over, pull through back loop. Now you have 3 loops, boom, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now you have 2 half doubles. The reason it's called a half double is because we're about to do a double crochet, which means you're gonna yarn over, insert into the back, if it lets me, yarn over, pull up. Now you have 3 loops like how you did for the half double, but you're gonna yarn over, pull through only 2 of the loops to have 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and that is a double crochet. As you can see, it's taller than the half double by half a stitch, and it's taller than the single crochets by a full stitch. So that yarn over method is what's creating the next stitch. So I'm gonna insert into the back, yarn over, pull through. I have 3 loops, yarn over, only pull through 2, and then yarn over, and now pull through the last 2. Boom. 2 double crochets next to your 2 half doubles, which is next to your 3 singles. And now I'm gonna show you a treble crochet. So, actually, I'm gonna talk about the double. Double crochets are another favorite stitch of most crocheters because it works up quick, but it tends to leave gaps. So I would not use double crochets for important body parts that you don't want people to see, because it will leave a gap. It's not as sturdy as a single, and it's not as sturdy as a half double. It does have some give to it. It's gonna add more drape to your project as well. So it's gonna add some flow. But this next stitch, the treble or the triple crochet, is gonna give you the most flow, the most flowiness and drape. You're gonna yarn over twice. So 1, 2, 3 loops on your hook right now, which is why it's called a treble crochet or a triple. Insert into the back loop. Boop, boop. Yarn over, pull through. You should now have 4 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. You should have 4. You're gonna yarn over, pull through the first 2 like how you would a double. Pull through the second 2. You should have 2 left. This is why it's a treble, because you're yarning over and pulling through 3 times. Boom, that is your treble. As you can see, it's the tallest stitch. It has the most gap, but it is gonna give you the most drape and flow for your garment. It's gonna let a lot of air in. And as you can see, it's 2 stitches taller than the single, 1.5 taller than the double, 1 stitch taller than the double, and it's not a fan favorite, but I use it a lot in my skirts for sure, because I love a good twirl. Let's do that again. Yarn over twice, boom, boom. Back loop. I tied that, that was a tight stitch. Make sure your tension's not too tight, y'all. Yarn over, pull through. You should have 4 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Boom. Oh yeah. And when I said tension just then, I meant when you wrap that yarn around your hand, how you're pulling it, if there's no boing in that yarn, no boing boing, that means it's way too tight. You need to have some boing, not too much boing. Now, if I did this and it was strumming like a guitar, that's way too much. That's way too less, there's too less of, that's just not enough tension. But if I were to grip it and there's a little bit of boing, but not so much to where it's stiff, you want it right in the middle. Loop, loop, or yarn over, yarn over. We're gonna do it one more time. Insert into the back loop, pull up. You should have 4 loops. Yarn over 1, pull through 2, pull through the second 2, pull through the third 2. And now you have your basic stitches right in front of you. So when someone says this is a beginner level crochet, you are working with these foundational stitches. You're working with singles, and you can see the V, you can see the V's, right? That means you have 10 V's, you should have 10 stitches. This is what they look like from an aerial perspective. You have the single, 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 half, half, double, half double, half double, 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 3 trebles or 3 triples. And the more you practice making stitches, the more you're gonna be able to tell them apart and differentiate. Usually because of the height, and again, that gap, that gappiness. You see how much gap is in between the trebles, but how there's basically no gap in the single crochet area? Oh yeah. And now we're gonna turn our work again. So you're gonna put your hook through your loop. And remember, the amount of chains you use to turn your work depends on the next stitch you want. So if I wanted to continue with the treble and work my way from treble down to single, I would need to chain 4. So I'm going to yarn over 1, yarn over 2, yarn over 3, yarn over, pull through 4 times. And now I literally turn my work. And it's so much easier to see a turned piece of work when there's something to work with, right? Now I am working at the tops of these V's. Now I'm working under both parts of the V. So I'll be going under both parts. If someone were to go through just the front part, that's called a front loop. And if I were to go through the back loop only, that's called a back loop only stitch. And you'll see that in some designs. Because I chained 4, that counts as a treble crochet. Wrap, yarn over, you're gonna skip, like I said, you're gonna skip that first stitch. You don't wanna put it there, you wanna put it here. Insert, yarn over, pull up that 4th loop, 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now I have a chain 4 that is supposed to mirror that treble underneath. I have a treble that mirrors that treble underneath, and now I'm gonna make another treble. So yarn over twice, insert under both V's, both parts of the V. Yarn over, pull through, 4 loops, 2, 2, 2. And now I'm gonna do doubles. So I yarn over once, insert underneath both V's, yarn over, pull through to have 3 loops on my hook. Boom, boom, boom. Oh Lord, that looked crazy from the aerial perspective. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Make another double right next to it. And who remembers how to do a half double? Half doubles are when you yarn over, you insert, you pull through, yarn over, but now you're going through all 3 at once. Boom. Do that again. Boom. Who remembers how to do a single? Singles are, you do not yarn over with a single. You go straight into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2 at once. So insert, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through. And that last stitch, don't forget that last stitch, that last little V. Oh, I moved my hook. That last little V is important. If you forget that, you'll be off your stitch count. So again, you do not yarn over, you just insert, pull up, yarn over, both. And so this is like some Venus flytrap, actually not Venus flytrap, like a pitcher plant-esque shape. Looks like a leaf if you want it to look like a leaf. Where we worked 3 singles, 2 doubles, 2 half doubles, 2 doubles, 3 trebles. We chained 4, turned our work, did the same stitch backwards. And that, my friends, are the basic stitches. Good job, you did it. You crochet now. Yay. Wait, how do we, yay. Have a great day, y'all.